The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the Zornath fleet. Their massive ships, once a source of pride and power, now drifted helplessly in an unknown sector of the galaxy. Captain Zorax stood on the bridge of the lead ship, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly as he tried to make sense of their dire situation. "Status report," he demanded, his voice a mix of worry and frustration. His second-in-command, Kelenar, approached with a holographic display flickering above her tentacle-like appendages. "It's not good, Captain," she said. "The cosmic anomaly continues to drain our energy reserves. At this rate, we have less than a solar cycle before life support systems fail." Zorax's scaled skin paled slightly. Their entire civilization was at risk. Millions of Zornath were aboard this fleet, fleeing their dying homeworld in search of a new beginning. Now, it seemed their journey might end here, in the cold embrace of space. "Have we identified the nature of this anomaly?" Zorax asked, hoping for any shred of new information. Kelenar shook her head, her antenna drooping. "Negative, Captain. Our sensors can't penetrate it. It's unlike anything in our vast database." Zorax turned to look out the massive view screen. The anomaly was invisible to the naked eye, but its effects were all too real. He could feel the ship's vibrations lessening as more systems shut down to conserve power. "We have no choice," Zorax said, his voice heavy with the weight of his decision. "Prepare the quantum beacon. We must send out a distress signal." Gasps echoed around the bridge. The quantum beacon was their most closely guarded technology, capable of sending faster-than-light communications across the galaxy. Using it would not only drain their remaining power faster, but also risk revealing their advanced technology to unknown species. "But Captain," Kelenar protested, "if a primitive species intercepts the signal..." Zorax cut her off with a sharp gesture. "We have no other option. Our people's survival is at stake. Send the signal to all habitable systems within range." As the crew scrambled to obey, Zorax closed his eyes, sending a silent prayer to the cosmic forces they once worshipped. Their fate now rested in the hands of unknown beings across the stars. Millions of light years away, on a small blue planet called Earth, Dr. Emily Chen sat hunched over her computer in the dimly lit SETI Institute. Her eyes were red from staring at scrolling data for hours, searching for any sign of extraterrestrial intelligence. Suddenly, a series of beeps broke the silence. Emily sat up straight, her heart racing. "This can't be," she whispered, her fingers flying over the keyboard. Her colleague, Dr. James Wong, rushed over. "What is it, Emily?" "Look at this pattern," she said, pointing to the screen. "It's not random noise. There's a clear structure, a repeating sequence unlike anything we've seen before." James leaned in, his eyes widening. "My God, you're right. But the signal strength, it's off the charts. Whatever sent this must have incredible power." Emily nodded, her excitement building. "We need to alert the director. This could be it, James. The proof we've been searching for our entire careers." As they rushed to spread the news, neither scientist could have imagined the true nature of the signal or the adventure that awaited humanity. Over the next few days, the mysterious signal became the focus of intense global interest. News channels broadcast non-stop coverage, while social media exploded with theories and speculation. In a secure underground facility, the world's top codebreakers and linguists worked tirelessly to decipher the message. Progress was slow, but bit by bit, they began to unravel its meaning. "It's a distress call," Dr. Chen announced to a room full of government officials and military leaders. "An alien civilization is stranded and in danger. They're asking for help." The room erupted in a mix of excitement and concern. General Williams, a gruff man with a perpetual frown, spoke up. "How do we know this isn't a trap? It could be an invasion force trying to lure us out." Dr. Chen shook her head. "The message contains detailed scientific information about their situation. It matches what we know about cosmic anomalies. I believe they're genuinely in trouble. As debates raged on Earth about how to respond, the Zornath fleet's situation grew more desperate. Captain Zorax watched as more ships went dark, their occupants entering stasis pods to conserve the last remnants of power. Any response to our signal? He asked Kelenar, trying to keep the hope out of his voice. Nothing yet, Captain, she replied softly. But we must keep faith. Someone out there must have heard us. Zorax nodded, his gaze fixed on the stars beyond the view screen. Somewhere out there, a young species faced a monumental decision, one that would shape the future of two. The United Nations building in New York buzzed with activity. World leaders from every corner of the globe had gathered for an emergency meeting. The topic, how to respond to the alien distress call. Inside the main chamber, heated debates rage. Some leaders argued for immediate action, while others urged caution. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. President Sarah Chen of the United States stood at the podium, her voice firm. We cannot ignore this call for help. It goes against everything we stand for as a species. And what if it's a trap? Countered the Russian president, his bushy eyebrows furrowed. We could be walking into our own destruction. As arguments flew back and forth, Dr. Emily Chen and her team waited nervously in a side room. They had been called to present their findings to the world leaders. Do you think they'll listen to us? James asked, fidgeting with his tie. Emily sighed. They have to. This is bigger than any one country or even our whole planet. It's about our place in the universe. Suddenly, the door opened. A stern-faced woman in a suit appeared. They're ready for you, she said. Emily took a deep breath and stepped into the chamber. Hundreds of eyes turned to her as she approached the podium. Her heart raced, but her voice was steady as she began to speak. Distinguished leaders, she said, I know you're afraid. We all are. But this signal is real, and so is the alien civilization that sent it. They're in trouble, and they've reached out to us for help. She paused, looking around the room. Think about what this means. We're not alone in the universe, and our first contact with an alien species is them asking for our help. This is our chance to show who we really are as a species. Emily's words seemed to have an effect. The room grew quiet as leaders pondered her message. Meanwhile, millions of people around the world watched the proceedings on live TV. In New York's Times Square, crowds gathered around giant screens. In a small village in India, families huddled around an old television set. In Rio de Janeiro, beachgoers paused to watch on their phones. Back in the UN chamber, more experts were called to speak. Military leaders warned of potential risks. Scientists argued for the incredible opportunities this mission could bring. Hours passed. Debates continued. The world held its breath, waiting for a decision. As the sun began to set over New York, President Chen once again took the podium. The room fell silent. After careful consideration, she began, We have reached a decision. Earth will answer the call. We will send a mission to help the stranded alien fleet. A mix of cheers and worried murmurs filled the room. President Chen raised her hand for silence. This will be a united Earth mission, she continued. We will pool our resources, our best minds, and our bravest individuals. This is not about any one nation. It's about humanity as a whole, taking its first steps into a larger universe. As word of the decision spread, reactions around the world varied. In some places, people celebrated in the streets. In others, protests broke out, with worried citizens demanding the decision be reversed. But for better or worse, the choice had been made. Humanity would reach out to the stars. In her hotel room that night, Emily sat by the window, looking up at the night sky. Her phone hadn't stopped buzzing with messages from colleagues and reporters, but she tuned it all out, lost in thought. We're really doing this, she whispered to herself. A mix of excitement and fear swirled in her stomach. What wonders would they discover out there? What dangers might they face? As she pondered these questions, Emily's eyes caught a bright star moving across the sky. The International Space Station. Soon, humanity would be building ships to travel much, much farther. Somewhere out there, the Zornath waited, their hope fading with each passing moment. They had no idea that on a small blue planet, a young species had just made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. The greatest adventure in human history was about to begin. The next few months would test the limits of human ingenuity, bravery, and compassion. But for now, as the world buzzed with the news, Emily allowed herself a small smile. "We're coming," she said to the stars. "Hold on just a little longer." The world moved at a frantic pace in the weeks following Earth's decision. A secret facility in the Nevada desert became the hub of humanity's most ambitious project yet, Operation Sturridge. Dr. Emily Chen found herself at the center of it all. As she walked through the bustling corridors of the facility, she marveled at the concentration of human talent around her. The best minds from every field had been brought together for this mission. In one lab, engineers worked tirelessly on spacecraft designs. Their task was monumental: build ships capable of traveling faster than light. "How's it going, Dr. Patel?" Emily asked, approaching a harried-looking woman surrounded by holographic ship schematics. Dr. Patel looked up, dark circles under her eyes, but a spark of excitement in them. "We're making progress, Emily. Look at this." She pulled up a 3D model of a sleek, silver ship. "We're calling it the Horizon. It uses a combination of antimatter propulsion and something we're calling space folding technology. In theory, it should be able to reach the stranded alien fleet in just a few months." Emily's eyes widened. "That's incredible. But will it be safe?" Dr. Patel's smile faltered slightly. "We're doing our best to ensure it. But I won't lie, there are risks. We're pushing the boundaries of physics here." In another part of the facility, linguists and communication experts worked around the clock to improve their understanding of the alien language. They had made significant progress in decoding the distress message, but direct communication was still a challenge. Meanwhile, in a massive hangar, astronauts and soldiers underwent rigorous training. They ran simulations, practiced in zero-gravity environments, and prepared for every possible scenario they could think of. Captain Michael Hawkins, a decorated Air Force pilot chosen to lead the mission, watched his team with pride. When he noticed Emily entering the hangar, he walked over to greet her. "Dr. Chen," he said with a nod, "how are the preparations coming along on your end?" Emily smiled. "It's Emily, please. And it's going well, though it feels like for every question we answer, two more pop up." Michael chuckled. "I know the feeling. My team is training for situations we can barely imagine. How do you prepare to meet an alien race?" As they talked, a loud alarm suddenly blared through the facility. Red lights flashed, and people began running towards the exits. "What's happening?" Emily shouted over the noise. Michael's face turned serious. "Fire in the engine testing area. Come on, we need to evacuate." They rushed out with the others, hearts pounding. Outside, they watched as smoke billowed from one of the buildings. Fire crews rushed in, and after a tense hour, the all-clear was given. The incident was a stark reminder of the dangers they faced, but it also showed the team's resilience. Within days, the damaged lab was rebuilt, and work continued with renewed determination. As the launch date approached, excitement built around the world. Children made drawings of spaceships and aliens. Street vendors sold alien encounter survival kits. Late-night talk shows cracked jokes about teaching the aliens about pizza and reality TV. But not everyone was enthusiastic. Protests grew larger in some cities, with people fearing the consequences of alien contact. Conspiracy theories ran wild on the internet. Security around the Nevada facility had to be increased. Through it all, the team worked tirelessly. Emily often found herself working late into the night, poring over data and making last-minute adjustments to their plans. One evening, as she stared out the window at the starry desert sky, she felt a hand on her shoulder. It was Michael. "You should get some rest," he said gently. "The launch is in 3 days. We need you at your best." Emily nodded, realizing how exhausted she was. "You're right. It's just, are we really ready for this, Michael?" The captain was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I don't know if anyone can ever be truly ready for something like this, but I do know that we've done everything we can to prepare. The rest, well, that's why they call it an adventure, right?" His words brought a smile to Emily's face. He was right. They had prepared as best they could. Now it was time to take the leap. As they walked out of the lab, Emily took one last look at the starry sky. Somewhere out there, the Zornath were waiting, and in just 3 days, humanity would begin its journey to meet them. The greatest adventure in human history was about to begin. The day of the launch arrived with a mix of excitement and tension. Crowds gathered at viewing sites around the world, their eyes fixed on screens showing the horizon. Humanity's most advanced spaceship. At Mission Control, Dr. Emily Chen sat at her station, her heart racing. Beside her, Captain Michael Hawkins and his crew were going through final checks. "All systems are go," reported the chief engineer. "We're ready for launch." Michael nodded, his face serious. "All right, team. This is it. Let's make history." The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. Emily held her breath. 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. The horizon roared to life, its engines blazing with blue fire. Slowly at first, then with increasing speed, it rose into the sky. The crowd's cheers were drowned out by the thunderous sound of the launch. As the ship broke through the atmosphere, Emily and the mission control team erupted in cheers. The first part of their journey was successful. Once in orbit, the Horizon prepared for its first major test, the activation of the experimental faster-than-light drive. Initiating space fold, Michael's voice crackled over the comms. "Here goes nothing." For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then suddenly, the stars on the view screen blurred. There was a strange stretching sensation, and in the blink of an eye, Earth was gone. It worked. Someone shouted at Mission Control. The room erupted in cheers once again. But their celebration was short-lived. As the Horizon traveled deeper into space, they encountered their first challenge. "We're picking up some strange readings," reported the ship's science officer, Dr. Yuki Tanaka. "It looks like some kind of energy field ahead." Michael frowned. "Can we go around it?" Yuki shook her head. "It's massive. Going around would take too much time." "Then we go through," Michael decided. "All hands, brace for turbulence." As the Horizon entered the energy field, the ship began to shake violently. Warning alarms blared, and crew members struggled to stay in their seats. Back on Earth, Emily and her team watched anxiously as the ship's readings fluctuated wildly. "What's happening to them?" Emily asked, her voice tense. The chief engineer shook his head. "I don't know. That energy field is like nothing we've ever seen before." For several tense minutes, they lost all contact with the Horizon. Emily felt her heart in her throat. Had they just lost the mission and its crew? Then, suddenly, the reading stabilized. The comms crackled back to life. "Mission Control, this is Horizon." Michael's voice came through, sounding tired but alive. "We've cleared the energy field, but you won't believe what we found." As the video feed reconnected, Emily gasped. The energy field had been hiding something incredible, a massive space structure, clearly artificial, floating in the void. "It's some kind of ancient space station," Yuki reported excitedly. "And it's still operational." The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. This was proof that other advanced civilizations had explored this part of space long ago. Over the next few days, the Horizon crew carefully explored the station. They found strange technologies they couldn't understand and star charts of unknown regions of space. "This could help us reach the Zornath faster," Michael suggested during a briefing with Mission Control. Emily nodded. "Agreed. But be careful. We don't know what other surprises might be waiting out there." As the Horizon continued its journey, more wonders and challenges awaited them. They witnessed the birth of a star, narrowly escaped a black hole's gravitational pull, and encountered space phenomena that defied their understanding of physics. Each discovery and challenge pushed the crew to their limits, forcing them to think creatively and work together in ways they never had before. Back on Earth, Emily and her team worked tirelessly, analyzing the data sent back by the Horizon and providing support as best they could across the vast distances of space. One night, as Emily was reviewing the latest transmissions from the ship, she found a personal message from Michael. "Emily," it read, "I wish you could see what we're seeing out here. It's more beautiful and terrifying than we ever imagined. But every time we face a new challenge, I think of all the work you and the team did to prepare us. We wouldn't have made it this far without you. We're going to make it to the Zornath, I promise." Emily smiled, feeling a mix of pride and longing. The Horizon was pushing the boundaries of human exploration, and she was part of it, even from millions of miles away. As she looked out the window at the night sky, Emily knew that somewhere out there, the Horizon was drawing closer to its goal. The rescue mission was well underway, and humanity was about to take its place among the stars. After weeks of travel through the vastness of space, the Horizon finally approached the coordinates of the stranded Zornath fleet. Excitement and tension filled the ship as the crew prepared for humanity's first face-to-face encounter with an alien species. Captain Michael Hawkins stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the view screen. "Any sign of them?" he asked. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, hunched over her console, shook her head. "Not yet, but we're picking up some strange energy readings." "Wait, there." Suddenly, a massive shape appeared on the screen. As the Horizon drew closer, they could make out the details of an enormous spaceship, unlike anything they had ever seen. Its sleek, organic design made it look more like a living creature than a vessel. "It's beautiful," Michael whispered. More ships appeared, dozens of them, all dark and motionless. The Zornath fleet hung in space, like a field of metal islands. "They're not moving," Yuki observed. "Their power levels are critically low." Michael nodded grimly. "All right, let's try to make contact. Open a channel." Back on Earth, Dr. Emily Chen and the mission control team watched with bated breath as the Horizon initiated first contact. "This is Captain Michael Hawkins of the Earth ship Horizon." Michael's voice rang out. "We've received your distress call, and we're here to help." For a long moment, there was only silence. Then suddenly, a burst of static filled the comms. A voice, unlike any they had ever heard, came through. It was melodic yet alien, with clicks and trills that no human throat could produce. "Translation software is working on it," Yuki reported. After a few tense moments, words began to form. "Earth, ship, you came." The alien voice sounded surprised and hopeful. Michael smiled. "Yes, we're here to help. Can you tell us your situation?" As the translation software improved, communication became easier. The Zornath explained their dire situation. Their ships trapped by an unknown force, their power failing. "We need to dock with their main ship," Michael decided. "Yuki, can you find a way in?" Yuki studied the alien ship's schematics. "I think so, but it won't be easy. Their technology is so different from ours." As the Horizon carefully maneuvered towards the Zornath mothership, Emily and her team at Mission Control worked furiously to analyze the data coming in. "The energy drain is coming from some kind of spatial anomaly," Emily reported to the ship. "It's like nothing we've ever seen before." On the Horizon, Michael and his team prepared for boarding. They put on special suits designed to protect them in unknown environments. "Remember," Michael briefed his team, "we're here as friends. Let's show them the best of humanity." With a hiss of pressurized air, the airlock opened. Michael took a deep breath and stepped onto the alien ship. The interior of the Zornath vessel was a marvel of organic technology. Corridors seemed to pulse with faint bioluminescence, and control panels looked more like living tissue than machines. As they moved deeper into the ship, they finally encountered the Zornath themselves. The aliens were tall, with sleek bodies that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. They had 4 arms and large, expressive eyes that regarded the humans with a mix of fear and hope. One Zornath stepped forward. "I am Captain Zorax," it said through the translator. You really came to help us." Michael nodded, removing his helmet in a gesture of trust. "We did. We couldn't ignore a call for help, even from across the stars." Zorax's eyes widened. "But you're so different from us. Your technology is primitive compared to ours. How can you help?" Michael smiled. "We may surprise you. Humanity has a knack for solving problems, especially when we work together." As the human team spread out to assess the Zornath ship's systems, they faced numerous challenges. The alien technology was far advanced, and many of their tools were useless. But the humans didn't give up. They improvised, adapted, and worked tirelessly alongside the Zornath. Slowly but surely, they began to make progress. Back on Earth, Emily watched the events unfold with a mixture of pride and awe. "They're doing it," she whispered to herself. "They're really doing it." As the first day of contact drew to a close, both species had learned much about each other. The Zornath were amazed by human creativity and determination, while the humans were in awe of Zornath technology and knowledge. That night, as Michael sent his report back to Earth, he couldn't help but feel optimistic. "We've taken the first steps," he wrote. "It won't be easy, but I believe that together we can overcome this challenge. And in doing so, we might just forge a friendship that spans the stars." As Emily read his words, she smiled. The greatest adventure in human history was unfolding, and it was more incredible than anyone could have imagined. As the Earth team settled into their second day aboard the Zornath mothership, the enormity of their task became clear. The alien fleet was trapped in a complex web of energy fields, slowly draining their power. Captain Michael Hawkins gathered his team and the Zornath leaders for a strategy meeting. "All right, folks," he said, looking around at the mix of human and alien faces. "We need to figure out how to break free of this energy trap. Any ideas?" Dr. Yuki Tanaka spoke up first. "The energy fields are like nothing we've seen before. They seem to be feeding off the Zornath ship's power systems." Captain Zorax nodded, his shimmering skin pulsing with concern. "We've tried everything we know, but our technology is useless against it." Suddenly, a young human engineer named Alex raised his hand. "What if we use that to our advantage?" he suggested. All eyes turned to him. "What do you mean?" Michael asked. Alex explained his idea. "If the energy field is attracted to the Zornath power systems, what if we create a massive surge? Like overloading a circuit, it might disrupt the field long enough for us to escape." The room buzzed with excited discussion. The Zornath scientists looked skeptical but intrigued. "It's risky," Zorax said. "Such a surge could damage our ships beyond repair." Michael nodded. "True, but if we don't try something, you'll lose your ships anyway. We need to take that risk." Back on Earth, Dr. Emily Chen and her team listened in on the plan. "It's crazy," she muttered, "but it just might work." Over the next few days, humans and Zornath worked side by side to modify the alien ship's power systems. The humans' creative problem-solving complemented the Zornath's advanced technology in unexpected ways. Alex worked tirelessly, often forgetting to eat or sleep. One day, a Zornath engineer named Kellinar approached him. "You should rest," Kellinar said, concern in his large eyes. Alex smiled tiredly. "I'm fine. We need to finish this." Kellinar tilted his head. "You humans are strange. So fragile, yet so determined. Why do you push yourselves so hard for us?" Alex thought for a moment. "Because it's the right thing to do. And because every problem solved, every challenge overcome, makes us better. It's how we grow." Kellinar seemed to ponder this. Then, to Alex's surprise, the alien picked up a tool and started working alongside him. As the days passed, the rescue plan took shape. The Horizon would use its engines to create an initial disturbance in the energy field. Then, all at once, the Zornath ships would unleash a massive power surge. The night before the attempt, tension ran high. Michael found Zorax staring out a viewport at the shimmering energy field. "Nervous?" Michael asked. Zorax turned, his eyes reflecting the starlight. "Yes. My people's fate rests on this plan. A plan created by a species we didn't even know existed until days ago." Michael nodded. "I understand. But sometimes the best solutions come from unexpected places. That's the beauty of the universe. There's always something new to learn." The next morning, everyone took their positions. The Horizon moved into place, its engines powering up. "All ships report ready," Yuki announced on the bridge. Michael took a deep breath. "All right, let's make history. Begin countdown." As the countdown reached 0, the Horizon's engines flared to life, sending waves of energy rippling through the field. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a blinding flash, every Zornath ship unleashed its power surge. The energy field writhed and pulsed, like a living thing in pain. Alarms blared as systems overloaded. "The field is destabilizing." Yuki shouted over the noise. "All ships, full power to engines," Michael ordered. "We need to break free now." For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed like it wouldn't be enough. Then, slowly at first but with increasing speed, the ships began to move. "We're breaking free," someone shouted. As they cleared the energy field, cheers erupted on every ship. Humans and Zornath alike celebrated their hard-won victory. Back on Earth, Emily and the mission control team jumped to their feet, clapping and hugging each other. In the aftermath, as the Zornath fleet regrouped and assessed the damage, Michael received a call from Zorax. "Captain Hawkins," the alien leader said, his voice filled with emotion. "We owe you and your people a debt we can never repay. You've saved not just our lives, but the future of our entire civilization." Michael smiled. "That's what friends do, Captain. And I hope this is just the beginning of a long friendship between our peoples." As the rescue operation came to a close, both humans and Zornath knew that the universe would never be the same. A new era of interstellar cooperation had begun, all because humanity had answered a call for help from the stars. The journey back to Earth was filled with a mix of excitement and anticipation. The Horizon led the way, with the restored Zornath fleet following close behind. As they approached the solar system, Captain Michael Hawkins couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. "Home, sweet home," he said, gazing at the blue marble that was Earth. Beside him, Captain Zorax marveled at the sight. "It's beautiful," the alien leader said. "So different from our world, yet somehow familiar." As news of their arrival spread, the whole world held its breath. Millions gathered in cities, towns, and villages, their eyes turned to the sky. Dr. Emily Chen stood with world leaders at a specially prepared landing site. Her heart raced as she watched the ships descend through the atmosphere, their hulls glowing from the heat of re-entry. With a thunderous roar, the Horizon touched down, followed by a Zornath diplomatic vessel. As the dust settled, a hush fell over the crowd. The Horizon's airlock opened, and Michael stepped out, followed by his crew. Then, to the amazement of all present, Zorax and a group of Zornath emerged from their ship. For a moment, there was silence. Then, spontaneously, cheers erupted from the crowd. Humans were meeting aliens on Earth for the first time in history, and it was a moment of triumph and unity. Emily rushed forward, unable to contain her excitement. She hugged Michael tightly, then turned to Zorax, extending her hand in greeting. The alien, having learned of the custom, took it gently. "Welcome to Earth," Emily said, her voice filled with emotion. Over the next few days, the world was abuzz with activity. Scientists from around the globe met with the Zornath, exchanging knowledge and ideas. Political leaders discussed the implications of this new interstellar friendship, and ordinary people everywhere marveled at the reality of alien life. In a historic address to the United Nations, Zorax spoke of gratitude and hope for the future. "We came to your world as strangers in need," the alien leader said, his words translated for all to hear. "You answered our call with courage and compassion. In doing so, you have not only saved our people but have also opened a new chapter in the history of both our civilizations." The speech was met with a standing ovation. As Zorax stepped down from the podium, Michael leaned over to Emily. "Not bad for a first date with the galaxy, huh?" Emily laughed, feeling a mix of joy and relief. "I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship," she said, quoting the famous movie line. As the days turned into weeks, the impact of the mission began to ripple through human society. New technologies, developed in collaboration with the Xornath, promised to solve some of Earth's most pressing problems. Clean energy, advanced medical treatments, and more efficient space travel were just the beginning. But perhaps the most profound change was in how humanity saw itself. No longer were they alone in the universe. They had proven themselves capable of not just reaching the stars, but of making a difference on a cosmic scale. One evening, as the sun set over the New Mexico desert, Michael found Alex, the young engineer whose idea had saved the Xornath fleet. The young man was staring up at the stars, a thoughtful expression on his face. "Credit for your thoughts?" Michael asked, using the new interstellar currency that was being developed. Alex smiled. "I was just thinking. What's next? We've made first contact, saved an alien civilization. Where do we go from here?" Michael looked up at the starry sky. "That's the beauty of it, Alex. We've only just begun. There's a whole universe out there, filled with wonders we can't even imagine. And now we have friends to explore it with." As if on cue, a streak of light crossed the sky. A Xornath ship, heading out to explore the solar system. Back in her lab, Emily was already working on plans for the next mission. She smiled as she looked at a photo of the Earth team and their Xornath friends. "Ad Astra," she whispered, the ancient Latin phrase meaning "to the stars." But now, it wasn't just an aspiration. It was a promise, a destiny that humanity was ready to fulfill. As night fell on Earth, millions of people looked up at the stars with new eyes. They knew that out there, among those distant points of light, there were friends, adventures, and a future brighter than they had ever dared to dream. The journey that had begun with a distress call from across the stars had transformed humanity. They had been called to save a stranded alien fleet, but in the process, they had found their place in the cosmos. The greatest adventure in human history had only just begun.